If I look tired, it's because college has begun. I was up late last night, and I'm up bright and early at 5 o'clock this morning to record this Lamar Jackson film study. I figured if Lamar Jackson can throw touchdown passes in an NFL game while pinching one off, then I can get up early and record a video.
I gave you fair warning, beware, beware.
Smack him in the mouth.
I gave you fair warning, beware, beware.
Smack him in the mouth.
I gave you fair warning, beware, beware.
Smack him in the mouth.
I gave you fair warning, beware, beware.
I'll smack him in the mouth.
Sometimes the price of admission to have everything you want in life includes staying up late, working hard, getting up early, working hard, pinching off your shits, and working hard. What is up, Warzone Sports Army? I'm Mike, and I'm just a former decent high school player turned fan on the mic, and you're tuned into the newest episode of Mike's Film Room. This is episode 5. We're going to be taking a look at Lamar Jackson from the coach's eye, from the all-22, from the film room, whatever you want to call it. Now, hopefully this video isn't as stinky as the opening joke I used for it, but I got my coffee. I got my vitamins in this cup. I'm ready to wake up. I'm ready to get started this morning and get productive. I got class in a few hours, so we got to get this done before then. We're going to be taking a deep dive into Lamar Jackson's performance versus the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs and versus the Cleveland Browns in the game that I keep referencing to, where he did actually have to take a poop in the middle of the game. Now, of course, we know how talented Lamar Jackson is, so it is a little bit harder to really identify his strengths and weaknesses. But in this situation, it's not going to be too hard, in my opinion. I have an opinion on Lamar Jackson already heading into this. We'll see if that opinion is swayed at all. I watched some tape on him in the past during his MVP season, so I'm excited to see if there's been any progression or any growth since then. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go over what he is good at and excels at first, because we all want the good news first, obviously. And I'm going to be bouncing from game to game since I have 2 games of film that I broke down for today's video. So you're going to see me bouncing from the Browns game to the Titans game for the good. And then you're going to see me bounce from the Browns game to the Titans game for the bad. We're going to get into all that, but first, can you take 2 seconds to help me out by hitting that subscription button, hitting the notification bell, and smashing the like button for the algorithm? That takes 2 seconds to help us out, and we put so much work into this. You know the Warzone Sports Network at this point is putting it down daily, and we're going to continue doing it for you. All we ask is that smashing of the like button, and that you guys are subscribing and turn on notifications so that way you're alerted every time we drop a new video. All right, let's get into the film study of Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. All right, before I get started, I want to put the disclaimer out there that I will be talking about him as a runner, and I will be talking about him as a passer, and it's almost like a separate conversation between the two. We're going to paint the whole picture. It's so hard to grade how good or bad Lamar Jackson is just because of his running ability adds that extra dynamic to the game, but his lack of passing ability subtracts a little, so finding that balance in between is so hard when you're ranking these guys amongst the best quarterbacks in the NFL. When I say these guys, I mean guys like Michael Vick. I mean guys like Randall Cunningham in his time. Yes, I think Lamar is on that level as a scrambling/running quarterback already at 24 years old. And I'm sure that we will see that displayed in this film study today. And I'll share my opinion that I have on Lamar Jackson before going into today's film study, and that is that I firmly believe that Lamar Jackson is a top 10 quarterback without any doubt, and it shouldn't even be really debated too much. Yes, he does have a lack of passing talent, as people like to call it, but he makes up for it in being one of the best runners of the football to ever play the quarterback position. I have Lamar Jackson ranked inside of my top 10 and firmly inside of my top 10 at number 7, right behind Josh Allen. So right here, this first play is a good example of exactly what I'm talking about when I say that his legs balance out his lack of passing talent or passing ability. But Lamar Jackson is just special, man. And this is just the change of direction, the elusiveness, the agility. He's one of a kind. I mean, Kyler Murray's pretty close, but I still firmly believe that Lamar Jackson's even a level above him. This is all covered up for the most part. Maybe he could have hit Willie Snead there, but once he realizes he's in trouble, his ability to get outside the pocket and turn nothing into a 12-yard gain is something special. I wanted to highlight this and point this out when I'm talking about what Lamar Jackson does best. Lamar Jackson's read option game is one of the most dangerous weapons in the National Football League right now. What do I mean by that? when the Ravens call the read option in the 20 different forms that they have it in the 20 different formations that they can call out of, honestly, it's probably more than 20. Lamar Jackson dominates and has gotten to almost an unstoppable level when he's running the read option. This is going to be an option kind of paired with the QB dive. That's all Lamar needs, that little hole. He's going to score a touchdown. They gash their opponent's leading defense with the read option more than anything else in their playbook. Also, I want to point out, you see the entire left side of the line here is pulling the guard, and then right behind him you have Orlando Brown, who is athletic enough to pull from the left tackle position and block on the complete opposite side of the field. That's a special tackle right there. They're going to miss him in 2021. He's in Kansas City now. Here's another example of just how deadly this read option is with Lamar Jackson, just because of how quickly he can get out of the backfield. At the blink of an eye, he can already be threatening the second level, threatening the linebackers. His read here is the defensive end on the right side. He's going to see if that defensive end takes a step towards the running back or towards him, make a quick decision, and just go. Whether it's the right decision or not, just go. Use your athletic ability and take off. It was the right decision on this play, but there was many times I saw on film where it was the wrong decision, and he should have handed the ball off, but he kept it and still turned it in to a big play. Now, all the extra stuff after he gets out of the box is just ridiculous. The way he's able to turn it upfield, the way he's able to change direction without actually having to make a cut, he kind of just curves into it. It's all special stuff that only this guy can do in this league. And like I said, maybe Kyler Murray, but I still like Lamar as a runner over Kyler Murray just slightly. Here's another example of just how deadly the read option is in this Ravens offense, and we've seen it in all these different formations here in this film study already. I'm sure there's even more that they didn't even use or I didn't even see while going over the tape. He's going to be reading Myles Garrett here. You see Myles Garrett, he's already looking at the running back, worried about this handoff, and at the blink of an eye, in a split second, Lamar Jackson is under him and gone, completely gone. And it's crazy because Myles Garrett makes a split-second decision that he's going to take a half step towards the running back because he thinks the running back may be getting the ball. Instead of just sitting there and not giving Lamar Jackson anything to read, he makes a split-second decision to take a half step towards the running back, and that is enough time for Lamar Jackson to get on the loose, get away from Myles Garrett. And this small half-second mistake that Myles Garrett makes, Lamar Jackson turns into a 40-yard scamper, a 40-yard gash of the defense on what was just a run play, just a read option play that other quarterbacks get tackled after 5 yards. The Ravens do this game in, game out. Here it is against the Titans in the playoffs last year. The read option, once again, you see 2 or 3 defensive linemen are going towards the running back or taking their half step towards the running back, which is all that Lamar Jackson needs. But his read is the furthest most outside guy that Richard, the fullback, is about to be blocking. Just so much space for him to go. He turns that into an 11-yard gain. They really have done an amazing job, an almost unbelievable job in Baltimore, designing this offense around Lamar Jackson and giving him the best opportunity to succeed. Anywhere else in the league, I have no idea if they're able to pull this off. And here's another read option play, another example, especially when they start to throw in those RPOs and they start to really get creative with the play design. It's almost impossible to defend. It's definitely impossible to really decipher the perfect way to defend it. A lot of teams try and use a QB spy to slow him down, but then he's usually just faster than the linebacker. A lot of teams will have the defensive tackles just clogging up the middle so that way that the running back or Lamar, if he hands it off or keeps it, can't go up the middle, and they just trust their defensive ends to keep him from getting on around the edge. But at a certain point, it's almost impossible to stop as long as Lamar's making the right decisions on who to give the ball to and when to keep it. I mean, this is the end of a playoff game. The Ravens need a first down to kind of just seal it, to end it, to be able to run the clock out. What play do they go to? The read option. I'm telling you, it is one of the most deadly weapons in football right now, and the Ravens have full faith to run this play, to run some form of option play in any scenario at any time, and the defense is always left on their toes because of it. And you can see it from this angle too, just how big the hole is for Lamar and how he just hits it, man. And he doesn't even hesitate. Just gets down safely. This was the end of the game, like I said. All right, here's an example, and another example, I should say, of why Lamar Jackson's ability to scramble, ability to run, outweighs his lack of arm strength or arm talent, as people like to call it. I think just pure passing ability, if we really look at the whole picture, he's not the best passer of the football. But when you can make plays like this, I mean, how are you not drawn to this as a fan of the sport of football is why I question people. There's a lot of Lamar Jackson haters out there. I mean, freeze frame right here. Do you think that Lamar Jackson is going to get out of this? Do you think that he is going to get out of this situation and complete a long down the field pass? Right here, freeze frame this. Look at this and tell me that you honestly believe it. He's a magician. He's special. He gets out of there, makes Myles Garrett miss too, and with pressure, it's underthrown, but it gets there and it does the trick, and Mark Andrews takes it all the way down inside of the red zone. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And you love to see it as a Lamar Jackson supporter. Usually there's a lot of cuts in these videos, and I have to make a lot of cuts in these videos as I watch a lot of plays that really don't have much to break down. Either it's just bang, bang, the read and the route and the throw and everything's determined before the ball's even snapped, or it's just a throwaway play, a handoff, or whatever it might be. But this is the very next play after that Mark Andrews gash. After he had just scrambled, evaded that sack that we just saw. The next play, he does something like it again. He consistently does this. Game in, game out without failure. I'm willing to bet you if you went and polled every defensive coordinator in the NFL, Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson are probably a defensive coordinator's worst nightmare at the moment in the league. Alright, I'm trying not to be too all over the place in this video and in this film study. So we're going to shift to the part where I call it the bads or the negative side. What does Lamar Jackson need to improve on? And I put that disclaimer out because I'm going to show some more good from Lamar Jackson, because there are times where he elevates his play. And I'm going to talk about that later on in the video, you'll see. Now, yes, I'll acknowledge his lack of passing ability, lack of arm strength, lack of down the field accuracy, lack of just arm talent in general. I will acknowledge that, and we're going to talk about that also later in the video. But the biggest issue I had from this film study with Lamar Jackson was decision making. I was actually severely disappointed thinking about how much I defend the guy and defend him on how bad his decision making was in these two games that I watched today. And honestly, from the stuff that I watched and the stuff that I studied from a couple years ago, his MVP season, he has regressed, in my opinion, when it comes to the decision-making part of his game. Now, whether that's actual regression or I think just the Ravens are giving him more leeway, giving him more freedom to make the decision whether he should take off or go ahead and take the easy 15, 10, 5-yard pass that's sitting right in front of his nose, it's really, really, really bad at times. And I'll say, I think 10 plays from each game. I'm not going to point them all out or show them all here in the film study. I'm definitely going to show a nice hefty quantity of them. 10 plays where Lamar Jackson had an easy completion right in front of him. Instead, he tried to run and either just got a shorter gain than what he would have gotten if he would have taken the efficient move, or get sacked and loses yardage. And against regular teams, bad teams, average teams in the regular season, he does make up for it with the ability to scramble, with the ability to run, with the gashes that he puts on defenses with his legs. But in the playoffs, these teams, these good defensive coordinators with very athletic defensive players above what Lamar Jackson is used to seeing from week to week, they know what to do. They know that they can load the box up. They know that they can load up his running lanes and keep him from getting out of the pocket, because he's not going to make the decision to hit them for that 7-yard gain that down the field over and over and over again will kill you. So here's the first example of that. I've got a nice string of examples to show you guys where Lamar Jackson had receivers wide open in front of him, and all he has to do is throw it to him, but instead he tries to run, and it doesn't work out. But in this one specifically, this is the same play I showed you at the beginning of the film study where Lamar Jackson gets out of the pocket and gets a nice little 12 to 15-yard gain. I don't know the exact yardage. That part isn't important. But I'm going to show you that on this play, even though it was positive and he made it work and he made it happen with his legs, he had multiple wide receivers wide open right in front of him, and he just elected to take off instead. So check out this freeze frame. In the NFL, these three wide receivers are open. These three wide receivers are open. And then if he wants to be dumb and throw across his body to the guy underneath, he's open too. I wouldn't advise doing that, especially when you have 3 guys open right in front of you. But that still is an option if you absolutely need to go there. I'm hitting the lead receiver here. I'm not sure if that's Marquise Brown. The picture's a little pixelated, but that's who I'm hitting if I'm in Lamar Jackson's shoes here. Lamar Jackson doesn't have any pressure in his face right now. There's no reason that he doesn't unload this ball for a 15-yard gain, maybe more if Brown can break a tackle and get up the sideline. He has a lot of space there on the sideline. He's already separating with his speed. You got to get the ball to him here. Now, Lamar takes off, and Lamar uses his freakish athletic ability, freakish agility to somehow turn this into a first down and a big positive gain. But like I said, there were a ton of times where it didn't work out. What's wrong with this guy? I mean, this guy's coming open. He's wide open. Lamar Jackson's feet are set. He's looking in his direction. What's wrong with hitting this underneath route right here that's about to be open? Both linebackers have their backs turned or are running back into a deeper zone. This is going to be a 5 to 10 yard gain. There's nothing wrong with taking this. But instead, Lamar thinks he can try and run out of there and takes a sack. And if you just go back a few frames, you can see even if Lamar gets this to him immediately, he's going to have a lot of space to work with. And he's probably going to get 7 to 10 yards on this play. But instead, it turns into a sack because Lamar tries to take off. And that's just a decision making. He had to make a split-second decision. Do I take off or hit my check down right here in front of me? And I really want it to be like a once-in-a-while thing. I want it to be just like a simple mistake that he makes once or twice a game, but it's not. This is the very next play after he took that sack. Look at this freeze frame. I mean, this kills you if you're a Ravens fan, right? You have 3 wide receivers possibly, but definitely 2 wide receivers wide open. And this play's developed. He's taking a full step back. Once you get to the end of your drop back and you see guys open, why aren't you unloading the ball to them immediately? Instead, he gets greedy, tries to run, slips, and just takes a sack. Here's that same play from a different angle. I mean, this is, like I said, it's just painful to lose yardage on this. And when it's that simple and it's that right in front of you, a lot of quarterbacks, almost all NFL quarterbacks in the NFL, should just complete this pass to that guy that's wide open over the middle. Lamar thinks he can get out of there and turn it into more, but it just wasn't there. But this is the very next play, and it's kind of funny because this is 3rd and long, of course. He just took back-to-back sacks trying to scramble around. And on the 3rd attempt, he does it again. And 3rd time's a charm. He gets the first down on, I think, was 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 17. He scampers out of there and gets past the first down marker. Here's another example of the exact same thing I'm talking about in the Titans game. It's so tough, man. It's so disappointing. It's got to be frustrating to watch film as a coach and seeing this. I mean, I don't know if the coaching staff are preaching this to him, but if I'm the coach and I see this and this play turns into a sack, I am very, very upset. He has 2 wide receivers who are wide open. He can hit the underneath guy, and the underneath guy has a lead blocker. That might turn into a touchdown. Or he can hit the guy down the field for an easy 10 to 15 yard gain here. He's got his feet set, no pressure around him. This is easy. This is NFL easy money. But instead, you know what he tries to do? He tries to scramble around and run and just takes a sack, and it turns into a negative play. Something that had potential to be a touchdown, something that had potential to be a 15-yard gain turns into a negative play. Like I said, if I'm the coach, I'm getting into him on this one. I'm grabbing one of those tablets actually in the middle of the game and taking it down to the sideline to talk to him about it, because he needs to make these decisions. And this is perfectly drawn up by the Tennessee Titans defense, by the way. You can definitely see it from this angle, too. You can tell that their defensive coaches, their defensive coordinators, their defensive assistants spent a lot of time in the film room and noticed the exact same things that I'm noticing here. They aren't even worried about him making that throw. They're sending the linebacker, and they're having the safety be a QB spy off the edge. Lamar Jackson, I don't think, even sees Desmond King, who's just floating around there. You can see him. He's just floating around the edge, waiting for Lamar Jackson to try and break out of the pocket when his first read isn't wide open. If Lamar Jackson just progressed through his reads and saw the other 2 guys on the left side of the field, like I said, this is easy. But they leave Desmond King there, and that's how you stop Lamar Jackson. But imagine if Lamar started making those throws. Imagine if Lamar, on a consistent basis, made the right efficient decision he would be unstoppable, right? I mean, how do you stop him? Because the way you stop him right now is bring a lot of people into the box, cloud up the box, try and trick him into trying to scramble, make him think that he has a false sense of openings, and then you swarm on him and get him down either for a short gain or for the sack. But imagine if one team start loading the box, one team start coming up and daring him to make these easy reads and make these easy throws to those 15-yard gainers, those 10-yard gainers. Imagine if he is gashing the defense on those and hitting them with his legs. What are you going to do? Bring him into the box. He's going to hit you right there on the passing game. Back up and guard the passing game. He's going to get loose in the box, and now you have to try and defend him on the run. He's doing all that crazy stuff we saw in that Browns tape. It's super tough, and I'm going to show you exactly what I want to see him doing towards the end of the video. Let's continue to go through the bad because I want to acknowledge everyone's criticism of his arm strength and his arm talent. So I found a few clips out of these two games where the arm strength isn't there or the arm talent leads to an interception. The lack of passing ability leads to a mistake or he loses out on it. So we're going to go over a couple of those real quick, and then I'll get into what I want to see Lamar doing. Here you go, the moment the Lamar Jackson haters have all been waiting for. Right here, he has a clean pocket to throw this pass. He has a receiver down the field wide open. He just overthrows him. It's Mark Andrews, his favorite target. Big surprise, but look how much separation Mark Andrews has here. A lot of quarterbacks, I'd say at least 20 quarterbacks in the league, complete this for a touchdown. But Lamar's lack of arm strength is going to hold this back to just being an incomplete pass. Just sails it right over Andrews' head. And you can see it from this angle a little bit better. Mark Andrews' space, how much space he actually had. I mean, he's got 3 steps on the defender here. You got to hit these. I'm not as concerned, like I said, with the arm strength thing because a few plays later, he runs for 15 yards, and then he runs for another 7 and scores the touchdown, something that no other quarterbacks are going to be able to do. So they get the touchdown anyways on this drive, but it doesn't always work out that way. So you gotta start hitting these deeper throws. You got to start hitting these a little bit more on the money. I mean, that's not even catchable. And I'm not really looking at his ability to read defenses too much because in the Ravens offense, they have a lot of just catch and throws, a lot of read option, a lot of RPO stuff. And it's just a little bit more advanced. It's going to take a long time to break down. If you guys want to see that, maybe we'll do it next offseason, a little bit more in-depth look at the Ravens offense itself. We head back to the Titans game here, the Titans tape. And this play, I don't even know what Lamar's doing. I mean, he doesn't have the arm strength to make this throw, and this guy is pretty covered up by the defensive back. I believe that's Bayard. We'll see when we go to the other angle. But this was never open, and Lamar can't make this throw. Super underthrown as well, which leads to an easy interception in the playoffs last year against the Tennessee Titans. It's not Bayard. Who is it? It's Adoree Jackson. How can I not recognize who that is? It's Malcolm Butler. Oh, yeah, that's Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler gets the pick. If this is 15 other quarterbacks, 20 other quarterbacks, maybe even 25 other quarterbacks in the NFL right now, Mark Andrews is wide open for a touchdown right here. You got to hit him more towards the middle of the end zone. You want to keep it high and away from the defensive back here, but this should be easy. You do have to worry about this safety who is playing a zone up top. He is not guarding that receiver, but when you see him flip his hips like this at the threat of the receiver coming across his zone, you got Andrews open for a touchdown here, and Lamar's arm strength really holds him back here. He can't get this in there, and that's a touchdown off the board. Now the Ravens, again, would score the touchdown on a Lamar Jackson scramble once again on this drive. You can see it from this angle, how open Mark Andrews is here on this play, and Lamar Jackson just completely misses him. Had a step on the DB. All right, you're probably thinking, you just talked all this crap about Lamar Jackson's terrible decision-making, but you have Lamar Jackson as your MVP pick for 2021 up on your Instagram page right now. Mike on the Mike Sports, by the way. The reason I have Lamar Jackson still winning the MVP, even after this film study in 2021, is because late in games, he showed me that when he focuses up, when he gets strict or gets on himself about this decision-making issue, and he really, really tries, he makes the right decisions. For example, this is late in the Browns game. It was back and forth, obviously. You guys remember the game. It was amazing, actually. One of the better games I've ever witnessed. I was freaking out along with the rest of you guys all over the internet putting out crazy videos about it. Right away, you can read that this is man coverage. You got DBs lined up over every receiver. It could be a disguised zone, but you're betting on man coverage. And when you see the safety take a couple steps forward to come and guard his man, you're really going to know that it's man coverage. Lamar recognizes this, and he sees how far the DBs are playing off of Hollywood Brown here. They got to respect his speed, right? So he knows immediately, because Brown's got the comeback route drawn up, where he's going with the ball. He makes that decision. He makes it efficiently. He makes it immediately, and he gets the ball out there to his open guy for a drop. Hollywood's got to come down with that one. I mean, it's right in the spot you want it to be, but it's just the decision making is a lot better on that play, and it's late in the game, like I said, and it's gonna be a theme that you're gonna notice as I go through some of these plays. Here's another example: late in the game versus Tennessee Titans. This is a drive where they're trying to get as many first downs as they can, so that way they can run the clock out. I showed you the read option play that they used to put the dagger in them, but this is that same drive. Late in the game, fourth quarter, Lamar Jackson making good decisions. Again, they're playing off coverage. This is a zone coverage, I believe, that he's facing. You can see where the DBs are. They're turned inside toward the quarterback. You got a high safety. But you're reading that safety to see if he takes a step forward or if he takes a step back. And you really can identify whether this is zone or man coverage right off the bat, assuming cover 3, but we don't know for sure. But regardless, they have to back off and respect Hollywood Brown's speed. Like I said, especially late in the game like this. They also are kind of daring the Ravens to run the ball a little bit more. I don't know how many minutes were left on the clock exactly, but it was definitely late in the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson sees this and says, oh, you want to back off? I'll take that easy 15 yards to Marquise Brown. Like I said in the previous play, they actually complete this one, but the decision-making is just a ton better late in games and in the fourth quarter when he's more focused and more sharp. Here it is from this angle. Bam, good throw, easy yardage. Hollywood's fighting to stay in bounds. This is what I want to see from Lamar Jackson on a consistent basis throughout the entirety of the game, and he's going to be damn near unstoppable. Here's another flash of arm talent and some more proof that I firmly believe in my heart that as he improves, as he progresses, he can do it. It's between the ear holes right now. He's in his own head that he needs to try and get out of there and make Superman plays. He needs to get on the run. He needs to use his best asset, which is his legs. We're not trying to say it's not. But in some situations, Lamar, make the efficient decision over what you think your best asset is consistently. And right here, you're going to see a very beautiful throw. Again, this is late in the game. He sidearms this in between a few defenders to an open Marquise Brown for a nice little 10-yard gain. If he picked apart defenses throughout the entire game, they're going to see a lot of blowouts, and they're going to be in the Ravens' favor. And look at this little sidearm action, showing that he can throw at some different angles, which is something that you see from a lot of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So at the end of it all, my opinion isn't changed too much on Lamar Jackson. I do think that decision-making issue is an issue that needs to be addressed this offseason, or hopefully was already addressed this offseason as we're approaching the NFL regular season very rapidly. If Lamar Jackson can get that part of his game tied down tight, he doesn't even need to be crazy down the field thrower. He doesn't need all that. Yes, if he can get better at that also, but focus on the decision-making factor, become more efficient as a passer. You're going to see these Lamar Jackson haters vanish quicker than Joe Morley at a Suns versus Bucks finals watch party. Okay, I redeemed myself with that one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's Mike's Film Room. I appreciate it every time I see you guys in the live chat or in the comments after, leaving your opinions on the player that I'm studying each week. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday during the regular season. I think we got one more or two more Tuesdays before kickoff to the regular season. I'm going to highlight a good performance that I wanted to break down on film and why it went right. And we're going to break down a bad performance and why it went wrong on the film, on the Mike's Film Room, each week throughout the entire NFL regular season. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a ton of fun. You want to hit that subscribe button. You want to hit that notification bell. And you want to smash the like to help us out a ton in the algorithm. Today, there aren't any more shows scheduled as of right now. There may be a live stream later on in the night, so make sure you have those notifications on once again. But tomorrow, Sports Force is dropping. You're going to see that Silver and Black show, whatever Joe Morley calls his Raiders Nation show. If you're a Raiders fan, stay tuned for that tomorrow night. They have a weekly Raiders coverage going on here on the Warzone Sports Network. Thursday, I believe, we're doing the NFC East full team previews, record predictions, standout player predictions, and all the above, really. Stat predictions. We're just going to be talking all kinds of crap about the NFC East teams. And Tony Tucker, Joe Morley, myself, we all have different opinions on the NFC East. I think we all have a different team winning the NFC East. So that's going to be a fun one. You want to be there for that. And then Friday Night Wars. It's going to be coming back. Main event of the evening. I think it's episode 40 or episode 39. You want to be there for that? Me and Joe Morley debate on 3 topics each week and see who can be the vicar. By the way, the vicar. And see who can be the victor each week. By the way, go and vote for me on the last week's episode. Go to the playlist on the Warzone Sports Network. Type in MIKE in the comment section. I really appreciate it. I need these dubs. I need these votes, man. I'm behind by 1 win right now. And then also, if you would like to sport some Warzone merch, or if you just want to check out our blogs and bonus content, head to our website, www.warzonesportsnetwork.com. There's links to all our social medias that you can go and follow us on. Warzone Sports on most of them. Warzone Sports Network on most of them. And there's also, like I said, merch and blogs and bonus content on there. I think that's all the cheap plugs for the episode. Yep. That's all of them. Thank you one more time. I'm so appreciative of everyone who tunes into the Warzone videos. We put so much work into it, so it means a lot to see you guys enjoying the content that we create. I'm Mike, and I'm just a former decent high school player turned fan on the mic, and this is me saying, until next Tuesday.
I gave you fair warning, beware.
Smack him in the mouth.
I gave you